I'm going to show you one of the rarest Atari 2600 games ever made. This game is crazy rare, and I purchased it when I was a kid, unknowingly. This is where I store all of my console games. And it goes on and on and on. Rack after rack after rack, box after box after box. And way up here in the corner, I have to dig out S through Z, Atari 2600. Okay, I finally got this box dug out, and somewhere inside of this box, Atari 2600 S through Z is one of the rarest video games you'll ever see. But first I have to dig for it. Not sure if you guys have ever seen anything like this before. This is the Supercharger. This plays cassette games on your Atari 2600, or it will load them on your Atari 2600, and I have a decent little stash of those. And, you know, could save that for another video, maybe. Well, these are my Atari 2600 games that I have collected since my childhood, pretty much. My brother and I kept all of this stuff, and this is just S through Z. It's a pretty big box, pretty deep, as you can see. But you have some common stuff like tennis, turmoil. I don't remember that. Not sure if you can see that. Star Strike. I can't remember that one. So lots of different games here. Video Checkers, Seahawk. I don't remember that. Space Chase. Space Chase was a game that you could send in back to the company, and they would actually program your initials in the game, if I'm not mistaken. I'll have to look that up. I think that's right. But lots of stuff here. Spider Droid. I don't know what that is. But somewhere in this box is one of the rarest games ever made. Okay, I found what I was looking for here. And this is it. In the early 1980s, I had an Atari 2600 like a lot of kids, and I had a lot of games for that console. I remember when games were expensive for the Atari 2600, but then the crash happened, and then games were dirt cheap. I remember going to places like Revco and buying Star Raiders for 50 cents. But amidst all of that, one day, in the mail, out of the blue, I received this sales paper, and it was typed up in black and white. It looked like a typewriter had just typed it up. Really cheap looking. And there was a list of Atari 2600 games that I'd never heard of. Some of the most craziest titles. I couldn't even believe what I was seeing. And so my brother and I pooled our allowances, and we purchased 2 games. And we knew that if we had these games in our possession, they would be very desirable, and we could potentially trade these with other games. Because back then, kids would take games to school and trade them temporarily. I remember trading Video Olympics for Gopher. So we looked through this list, and the first title we chose was just the craziest, most badass thing that we could find. And as it turns out today, one of those games we purchased is super rare. And that game is Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Now, as you'll notice, the name of the game is just, it looks like it's just written in with a pencil. And there at the bottom it says, for Atari 2600, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. There's no end label. It's just a very simple black cartridge. Now, if you're familiar with the company Apollo, they made Space Cavern and Lost Luggage. It kind of looks like one of their cartridges. And maybe it is. I'm not sure. But when we purchased this, we knew this was going to boost our social status. And It did. Every kid wanted to come over and play the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and nobody told their mom, I'm sure. But some of my friends did come over and we played this game. This game was created by Wizard Video in 1983, and the handwritten label version is considered extremely rare. They only made 900 to 2,000 copies in total, with and without artwork. So these were some of the earlier versions, and it's so rare. Now let's see if it still works. Imagine a kid in 1983 purchasing this game, and this is the first thing they see. That's cool. So the object of the game is to eliminate as many humans as you can before you run out of fuel. You have to avoid fences, wheelchairs, I don't know what those are, haystacks. When you hear the high-pitched sound, that's a person screaming. When you're down to your last life and you run out of fuel, the victim will boot you off the screen. One more. Nope. We spent a lot of time playing this game, and we spent a lot of time boasting about this game because of its graphic nature. And that was just a cool childhood memory for me and my brother. But I would never trade this cartridge. It was just too cool. So everybody would just have to come to my house if they wanted to play Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Blood.